Been a pleasure talking to you.
Yeah, pleasure to you too, mate.
What are you doing? We can all pull about a little bit. Do you want to pull about? Have a little pull and a push.
How you doing, everyone? My name is Ryan and this is Ade, and welcome back to another edition of Box Talk. It's This Week in Boxing, and this week has been a busy week, so no long talk, let's get it started. Ade, Jermain Taylor shoots his cousin. What's going on?
It's weird because they've done this Jermain Taylor thing and they've almost tried to do it similar to, what's that athlete that got his legs amputated?
Pistorius.
They've done it like, they said it was an intruder and he shot him, blah, blah, blah. No. Jermain Taylor's not right. He's not been right for a few years. Again, this is not really about boxing, but even when the fight was mentioned with Sam Solomon, people were like, how the fuck's he getting the fight? Even now, the fight's still not called off today.
Yeah. I'm not a medical genius, so don't get it twisted anyway. But when people that suffer brain bleeds and hematomas and concussions, they seem to have certain tendencies that change in them. I'm not saying this is Jermain Taylor, but you've got to take it into account.
You just never know. You've got to add all these things into it. Yeah, I agree.
You know what I mean? And for the fight to carry on, considering this, I think it's a disregard for Jermain Taylor's health and for the actual
family,
the whole thing. I mean,
yeah.
You shouldn't go into a boxing ring to fight another man where it's a life and death situation in a sense, whereas you're fighting to hurt someone with outstanding issues like this hanging around.
It's strange. Look, this was Jermain Taylor's last chance. Yeah. He shouldn't have even got the chance, but this was his last chance to A, get some good money, and B, get a world title. And then once you get a world title, because Sam Solomon's a winnable fight. Once you get a world title, then it opens doors for you for that last big hurrah. It's now gone. It's definitely gone. I mean, even Al Heyman couldn't bloody wingle this one back.
Yeah, it definitely. I reckon if the fight carries on without this being resolved amicably, they're saying that his cousin had a weapon or something beforehand, I think the fight should be cancelled.
Okay, what else you got?
We got Floyd Mayweather. Loads of Floyd Mayweather news this week. First off, with Floyd Mayweather, let's start with the double weight for the title shot. Ridiculous.
This is WBC again doing nonsense for me. I just don't understand how. So Maidana does win the fight. Maidana's not going to win this fight, but say he does win the fight. Maidana's now what? Super welterweight champion as well?
Now, let's be fair, it's not just WBC, it's also the WBA, which has been messing up boxing for the past couple of weeks with their silly decisions. This happened before with Sugar Ray Leonard about 25 years ago, which is...
I think it's only happened like 5 times in boxing.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. How can a guy that's never even fought at 154 pounds try to fight Mayweather and then be the champion in that weight class as if he would ever defend the belt at that weight class? Yeah. It is ridiculous. And I'm not blaming Floyd, don't get me wrong. You've got to blame the sanctioning bodies and the commissions that allow it. You can't fight under 147 and be defending the title at 154. It makes zero sense.
The funny thing is, if you look at Floyd's in 154, look, Floyd's the 154 champion. He hasn't fought at 154 since Canelo.
Yes.
Why does he even have the belt still?
Yeah.
I mean, it should be a case of, look, you've not fought in that weight for a year, strip the belt off him. Not because he's not that good enough to defend it, but if you're not going to defend and fight at 154, don't have the belt. It's almost like having a belt for the sake of it.
That's where it's always been, but this is Floyd Mayweather. This is the guy that runs boxing right now. He's the money man, so they're going to make concessions for him.
I agree.
Moving on, still more Floyd Mayweather news. Alex Ariza in the Floyd Mayweather camp. It's just hype and tricky.
It's just tricky.
Yeah.
It's very tricky. And you know what it is? It's tricky, but it's almost trying to get in the head of Maidana and Garcia. This is the guy that knows all their secrets, and you bring them into the camp.
This is the guy, Floyd Mayweather, that was very critical of Alex Ariza when he was with Manny Pacquiao years ago.
Yeah.
And Floyd Mayweather's camp is very tight. It's more like a family more than a camp.
I agree.
They wouldn't have an outsider like Ariza jumping in at this short notice. Like I said, Floyd's got a lot of money. He knows how to play the game, how to get people's head. A little money being passed under the table. Said, look, just hang around for fight week to cause a little stir.
I agree.
More Floyd Mayweather music. And it's the last thing for Floyd Mayweather. 50 Cent and Floyd Mayweather. What the hell is going on? I'm not going to lie. It was a low blow by 50 to put that video to offer Floyd out for the book reading competition. But it's not really boxing. Is that just a way to play with Floyd before the fight, to get in his mind? Same thing, mind games?
Nah, it's a way for 50 Cent to stay relevant, really, if I'm honest with you. Look, 50 Cent's got his new album coming out, singles dropping. Don't be surprised, I've been following 50 Cent for like 15 years. Every time he disses someone, there's a single coming out in a couple of weeks. It's a very smart game. Honestly, I think he's that smart. So his name will be all the way in Google, it'll be everywhere, and it's a way to stay relevant still. Look, them guys... I think even 50 done an interview with that Radio Raheem from Seconds Out. And he said, look, we're like brothers.
Yeah.
And I know the way I fight my brothers. I know the way you fought your brothers. Shit happens. When brothers fight, it's love and more. Anything can happen. So I think they're just fighting like brothers right now.
Okay, let's look at egos in boxing. Andre Ward, with all his... We've done a video this week about Andre Ward. All his views and things that's going on with Andre Ward. This week his team has a statement saying if GG wants to fight, they should make the call. They should contact him. Andre Ward ain't fought for ages. Why can't Andre's Ward team call GGG's team?
Because
Why can't they make? Why are you waiting when you haven't fought in over a year?
I said the same thing when we done that Andre Ward video. Andre Ward is the pound for pound number 2 in the world. Some people even think he's pound for pound number 1, believe it or not. I think he thinks that pound for pound ranking equates to pound for pound money.
Yeah.
I think he realised someone's got to tell him that his status as the second best boxer in the world isn't equal to his fan base or his money. That's the problem for him.
He's saying, "Will you call us? Will you do this? You make me an offer. Why can't you make? You got to understand that your window is going small, and you don't have many options right now. Take what's in front of you. I mean, he's got to clear his head and get this right."
I saw an interview recently, IFL TV. This is another new. IFL TV done an interview with Frank Warren, and they talked about Frank Warren signing Rigondeaux. Rigondeaux's free, and they talked about him signing Rigondeaux. And I think they're thinking, if they sign Rigondeaux, it makes the Carl Frampton fight easier.
Yeah. I did see Rigondeaux say that there's many options out there for him. He's been getting made offers, but nothing's been official. First time I heard that one.
I think his manager's Gary Hyde, who's Irish as well, so he's already got that kind of, if you like, European connection, so it makes that, you never know. And I don't think, look, he's not going to get top rank, he's not going to go golden boy, and I don't think Lou DiBella really has the money or the dates as well. One thing Box Nation does have, because it's their own channel, they've got dates. Yeah. They've got shows. Rigondeaux will top a show easily in this country.
Al Heyman signing more fighters and rumours of this CBS network TV deal in America and the Al Heyman network of fights. Very, very interesting. If this pulls off, where do you see it going?
I'm starting to genuinely believe that Al Heyman is almost like President Obama, in the sense that he doesn't really run the country. Yeah. I honestly believe now, Al Heyman is this figurine that we've been put up to see, but I believe that the team behind Al Heyman is gigantic. Yeah. And if I was a boxer in America and I didn't get a call from Al Heyman to be signed, I'd be shitting myself. You know, I've got to be signed to Al Heyman now.
When you look at TV prospects, especially in America, CBS is a major channel. It's not pay-per-view. It is
it's a channel. It's like ITV over here.
It's a huge move if it goes across. And with the names he's signed, that's bringing marquee fighters as household names.
Yeah. Now, they're obviously trying to do big things. And look, if they get it off, look, BBC One and ITV for years have kind of forgot about boxing. So to get that off on a major network channel, not a premium or pay-per-view channel, is huge in America. I mean, you're opening your market to potentially 1 billion people, which is ridiculous.
Okay, Nonito Donaire signs to fight Nicholas Waters. Tremendous match, great match. Is it a fight? Okay, it's a knockout, just put it that way. The fight is a great fight, someone's getting knocked out. Who are you going for early picks?
It's a close one. You know what it is, yeah? I don't know if Donaire has almost fallen off after that Rigondeaux fight. Yeah. Even in his last fight, it was a bit dodgy the way he came out, you know, in the 5th round because it was a cut. Yeah. So they go on scorecards and he wins. I'm going for the upset. I don't even know if it would be an upset. That's the thing, but I'm going for the upset. Yeah. But first of all, I think Top Rank are not considered to have like depth in terms of their pay-per-view shows. I think having Rubio and Golovkin and then Donaire on this card, good card.
It's mostly the best Top Rank card.
Honestly, I can't think of one.
It's basically like a double main event.
Yeah, it is a double main event.
Okay, news quickly in boxing and people that shouldn't be fighting no more. Danny Williams is fighting again. Michael Katsidis is fighting again. Who else is fighting? Who else is on here I got as well? Johnny Nelson talking about fighting again.
Oh, no. Okay, Danny Williams first.
Jeff Lacey's fighting again.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous. See, of all those 4, Jeff Lacey's the only one that actually, and it's bad, but that's how bad it is. Of all those 4, he's the one that seems like, all right, if you want to fight, because he's not had like, apart from the Roy Jones beating and the Joe Calzaghe, he's not been knocked out concussively on the floor. Katsidis fighting Tommy Coyle, I think it's ridiculous. Honestly, I don't know if you haven't fought for years, then you beat Graham Earl. To me, I don't know if Eddie Hearn's trying to fill a card again.
Retired for 2 years.
It's ridiculous.
And back with Jermain Taylor. Brain bleeds are dangerous. Retiring on physical health issues is dangerous. This guy should not be in the ring. Not because you're being bad, because you got to look for the guy's health. Boxing is not helping itself. That's like an accident waiting to happen.
I hate those cards when they just almost get someone that has a name. Yeah. And it almost, for the dumb boxing fan, it sounds like, oh my God, Tommy Cole's fighting a name. Tommy Cole's fighting. If Tommy, for example, was to fight the Katsidis that fought 5-6 years ago, do you know what I mean? Then we've got something. But fighting against Katsidis now is ridiculous. Sky Johnny Nelson, I thought that was a joke. Yeah, he's serious. He wants to fight.
He's serious. No. The thing about Johnny Nelson, and I like Johnny Nelson, but recently on ringside over the past couple of years, he's been getting injured quite a bit. Can he get through a whole training camp? Didn't he do his knee? Then he had his back. And then he tripped over.
Retired.
Yeah, he's retired. I mean, he's got a lot of issues outstanding. For him to make a statement like that, he either doesn't think Huck's got it, or he really thinks he's got something left in the tank. He's won one last hurrah.
The thing about Johnny Nelson is that he's what, 46, 47? I can't remember.
47, yeah.
He looks in bloody good shape.
Yeah.
You know he's sparring up and down the country.
No.
I don't believe he's just sitting at home eating. I think he's still in good shape.
Yeah.
But like you said, there's a difference between sparring and trying to take on the #1 cruiserweight in the world. Don't be silly.
I'm just concerned that, like I said, he's had injuries already going just in general normal day life. So does he really want to be back in the boxing ring fighting a young, strong 29-year-old Marco Huck?
Who went up to heavyweight and gave Povetkin problems as well.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
It is a little crazy.
But you know what money's like? If they're dangling £1 million carrot in front of his face, not many of us guys will turn down £1 million.
Definitely. What else we got here? Scott Quigg got a new opponent. Did we saw it already?
No, we didn't. Scott Quigg has got a new opponent. This is the thing I was saying to you about Carl Frampton and Scott Quigg. Scott Quigg seems to be, I don't know how many pullouts he's had in the last year, and he's having to fight a replacement and a replacement. I don't think he's moved on, which is why I said that I don't think people, even though I don't recognise the regular world title he's got anyway, I don't think people recognise him as a world champion because he's simply not fighting the names. Yeah. He's not fighting people.
That's not Quigg's fault.
It's not Quigg's
fault. People are
fault.
pulling out, but he has to adapt. You can't fault him for other people pulling out. He has to adapt and take what's given to him at this time. He's putting all his time in training camps. He's got dates set. He's got future. Even though the belt is tainted by the WBA, he is a current world champion that has to stay active. So even though it's not the fights you want, it's not his fault. He has to fight.
He's a current world champion who no one in Britain actually thinks is the world champion. That's the problem. Once I believe Carl Frampton does beat Kiko Martinez, then everyone's going to recognise Carl Frampton as world champion. I still don't think people recognise Scott Quigg as a world champion. That's the problem. And these pullouts don't help him.
Don't help him at all. Last thing for me, Klitschko Prix has been rescheduled now for November, which makes November a huge month in boxing, not just for the heavyweights, but for the whole division. But recently, well, this week, since the pullout, Prix has been making quite a bit of noise about drug testing, fake injuries, and saying that this whole Shannon Briggs story is fake.
We did kind of say about this Shannon Briggs thing that I said, I said, how does Shannon Briggs always seem to appear?
Yeah.
And not just appear, but he seems to be able to get in to security breaches that no one else can get into. He seems to be just there at the calf, in the ring, you know what I mean, on the press conferences, which I can get. Like, he seems to be every single place. And I'm like, there's something not right about it.
And it's funny as well, whereas I'm not nowhere accusing of Wladimir. I think Vladimir's a great fighter, don't get me wrong. But it's funny how after Pulev mentioned about the drug testing and he's not being tested, this guy's being tested, the injury comes straight after. And then Pulev instantly stays after, it's a fake pullout because of that. It makes you wonder. No, don't make you wonder. What's the word?
Like you're accusing.
No, I'm not accusing, but it's like giving credence to what Pulev was saying.
It's definitely giving credence to it.
It makes me real. That's kind of a coincidence. Yeah. You start making noise, you start saying this ain't done, that ain't done, and then as soon as that happens, the pullout. I mean, boxing's a shady business, and like I said, I believe Klitschko was clean personally. I'm just saying, though, it doesn't look good for Wladimir.
Boxing's in a position now with so many different drug tests and so many people failing drug tests that is now literally guilty to proven innocent. Yeah. You know, this doesn't help Klitschko. Look, once Pulev, who's a big name himself in boxing, starts saying, look, you know, I've been drug tested this amount of times, he's trying to say that the Shannon Briggs thing, it's almost like every time you're supposed to be tested, because of the Shannon Briggs incident, you have to leave. Yeah. So the testers miss you. Interesting. Well, that's it for me. You got anything else? That's it for me as well. I said, guys, there's another week in boxing. As Ryan says, look, a hell of a lot can happen in a week in boxing. There's more, but we're going to save it to you for next week. Don't forget to email us at boxtalk@hotmail.co.uk and don't forget to follow us on Twitter at boxtalkuk. Also, guys, don't forget to subscribe and also check out ringnews24.com for your latest news on boxing and our videos and some blogs as well. Guys, thanks for watching another edition of Boxtalk.